In this video, we'll create a to-do list application using Bubbletea. We'll start by initializing the module, installing Bubbletea and lip gloss. We'll create the main.go file and initialize our main function. We'll create a to-do struct, which will save our task. It will have a title string and a completed Boolean value. Each Bubbletea application has a model struct which stores the state of the application. In our case, model will have a Todolist list of to-do, a cursor which points to the current task the user is focused on, and a quitting Boolean which will be used to display the quitting message. To organize the code, we'll create an initial model function which will initialize the model with default values. We'll define a default list of tasks: task 1, task 2, task 3, task 4. The cursor would initially point to the first task, that is the 0th index, and quitting will be false by default. In a main function, we'll start the application using the t.newProgram function and pass the initial model. We'll check for errors and print if there are any. This is the standard way to initialize any Bubbletea application. You can see there's a compilation error because our model does not implement the T model interface. We need to define init, update, and view functions for our model. Let's start with the init function. In our case, it will simply return nil. Next, we'll define the update and view methods. The update method is executed whenever a user interacts with the application. The details of the interaction are stored inside the message variable. The responsibility of the update method is to update the application state, that is the model, according to the user interaction. The view method returns a string that is displayed in the terminal. The responsibility of the view method is to define how the application will be shown in the terminal according to the application state. For now, we'll display just a welcome message in the view method. Let's run the application. I forgot to add a way to quit the application. We need to kill the terminal process. So, always remember to add a way to quit a Bubbletea application before running it. Now I need to update the update method. Using a switch case statement in the update method is standard practice. If a user presses Ctrl+C, the application will exit. We'll update the view method to show a quit message before exiting. Now, we are able to quit our application when needed. In the view method, we'll loop over the list of todos to display the tasks. We have to take care of three things while displaying the tasks: the cursor, the task title, and whether the task is completed or not. The cursor will be indicated with a bracket. Completion will be indicated through an X mark. I will just add the new line character at the end of each task. Now the tasks are being shown correctly. Now, we'll update the update method to move the cursor. When we press the up arrow, the cursor should move up. This line makes the cursor move in a circular fashion. That is, when the up arrow is pressed at the first task, it comes to the last task. Now, let's add a way to move down in a similar fashion. Next, we need to toggle the task using the spacebar. We'll update the view method to show the help text indicating the use of the spacebar. We will define the D key to delete the task where the cursor is present. After removing the task from the list, we also need to add logic to update the cursor to the last index if the last task was deleted. We'll update the help message as well. Pressing the spacebar with no task panics. Let's fix that. Next, we need to add a feature to add tasks. For that, we need to define two more state variables in the model struct: input mode Boolean and input string. If the input mode is true, the view should display a prompt to enter the new task. If the user presses N, input mode should turn true. When in input mode, the keys should work differently. So, we'll create a new function, handle input mode, which will have the same signature as the update method. If the user presses escape once or twice, the input mode should be turned off. In Bubbletea, the double escape key is shown as Alt plus escape. If the user presses Enter in input mode, it should add the input text as a task. If the user presses backspace, it should work as expected. We can add the ability to copy, paste, etc. This is sufficient for this project. We also need to update the help text when in input mode. There is no way to persist data. As soon as we quit, all our tasks are deleted. So, we'll create save and load functions. By mistake, I wrote the logic to save into load and the logic to load into the save function. I will fix this shortly, so please don't get confused. I'll remove the dummy list in the initial model function. We will load the model from the file. Let's defer the save function call, so it is executed each time update is called. We can make it more efficient by executing save only when any update is performed, but this will work for our project. I'll switch the names of the load and save functions. Let's use a reference for the load method. Now, at the end, let's add some styling using lip gloss. We'll define the title style to display the title. The help style will be grayish to display the help text. The selected style will highlight the task the cursor points to. We'll add the styling as per the task. It should be I instead of cursor. Removing the new line character fixes the formatting issue. That was all for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel.